Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Future Force. Today we will explore in depth the massive strike on the Crimean Bridge and reveal the details that the world has been eager to know. This incident was not only a blow to a major piece of infrastructure, but also a symbolic strike at the heart of a contested region. We will examine everything about this event in detail, from the visible destruction that the world saw in dramatic images to the hidden layers of damage that disrupted logistics, transport, and strategy for weeks. The strike on the Crimean Bridge became one of the most discussed events globally, not only because of the engineering marvel it targeted, but because of what it represents in modern geopolitical conflicts. As we move through this exploration, you will understand the scale of this event, its repercussions, and the long-term implications it carries for the region and beyond. The exterior destruction was immediate and shocking. The Crimean Bridge, which spans nearly 19 kilometers across the Kerch Strait, was partially engulfed in flames soon after the strike. Thick plumes of black smoke were seen rising from the damaged sections, visible from miles away. Photographs and satellite images revealed twisted steel beams, collapsed roadways, and a section of the railway severely burned and distorted by the heat of the blast. Vehicles were stranded, trains halted, and the once seamless link between the Russian mainland and the Crimean Peninsula was suddenly severed. The visual impact was powerful because it showed the vulnerability of what had been portrayed as a nearly invincible piece of infrastructure. For years, the bridge stood as a symbol of permanence, designed to handle both civilian and military transport under heavy loads and in various weather conditions. Yet the strike tore through its structure with alarming precision, leaving not just physical scars but also a psychological mark on those who relied on it. The interior damage tells an even more critical story. Beyond the visible collapse and burned surfaces, the strike affected the heart of the bridge's operations. Inside its complex framework lie the support systems that keep it functioning, the electrical wiring that powers its lighting and surveillance systems, the communication lines that coordinate traffic and rail schedules, and the reinforced structures that distribute the load across its length. Reports indicated that several of these internal systems were either destroyed or rendered inoperable. Rail lines warped under intense heat, creating long delays and forcing authorities to reroute critical freight. The bridge's road deck also suffered from subsurface cracking, making it unsafe for heavy vehicles for an extended period. This interior damage created a chain reaction across regional logistics. Supply routes that once relied on the bridge had to be diverted through longer, more vulnerable paths. Goods deliveries slowed, military convoys faced new risks, and the economic flow between the Russian mainland and Crimea was significantly disrupted. Repairing these internal systems is far more complicated than simply patching up holes on the surface. Engineers must assess structural integrity, replace critical components, and ensure that both road and rail lines can once again operate in sync without further risk of collapse. Before the attack, the performance of the Crimean Bridge was considered a benchmark of modern infrastructure in the region. It managed heavy daily traffic that included commercial freight, passenger vehicles, and strategic military movements. Its design allowed for efficient dual use, integrating both road and rail transport over the same span. The bridge had become an essential artery for trade, tourism, and military logistics, drastically cutting the travel time between Russia and Crimea and reducing reliance on slower ferry routes. However, after the strike, this performance was crippled. Sections of the bridge had to be closed for extended periods, creating bottlenecks. Temporary repairs were put in place to allow limited flow, but they could not match the full capacity the bridge once offered. The smooth operation that authorities once boasted about was replaced by long delays, restricted lanes, and security checks that slowed movement even further. This change in performance highlighted how infrastructure that was once a source of strategic advantage could become a point of vulnerability and liability under targeted attacks. Safety features of the Crimean Bridge were a key selling point during its construction and early operation. It was equipped with reinforced concrete supports designed to withstand earthquakes and heavy impacts, anti-ship barriers to prevent collisions, constant surveillance through cameras and patrols, and even defensive measures to deter potential sabotage. Yet, the massive strike revealed that these safety features, while robust on paper, were not infallible against modern precision warfare. Analysts have debated whether the bridge's defense systems were adequately prepared or whether the attack exploited overlooked weak points. Questions arose about the speed and effectiveness of the response once the strike occurred. Could early detection systems have intercepted the threat? Were the patrols sufficient to prevent the approach of hostile elements? The incident demonstrated that safety measures must constantly evolve in response to advancing technology and changing strategies of warfare. It also served as a reminder that infrastructure built to last decades must continuously adapt to emerging threats that were not imagined at the time of construction. The unique selling points of the Crimean Bridge made it such an important and high-value target. First and foremost, it was the only direct road and rail connection between the Russian mainland and Crimea, making it a linchpin for both economic and military logistics. It facilitated the rapid movement of goods, fuel, construction materials, and food supplies, ensuring that Crimea remained well connected and economically viable. The bridge also carried significant symbolic weight. It was a statement of control and integration, representing a permanent link between two territories whose status remains at the heart of international tension. Tourists and traders used it daily, and its image was frequently used in state media to signify stability and strength. Damaging this bridge, therefore, sent a message that went far beyond the physical destruction. It struck at the very image of security and connectivity that the bridge symbolized. The price of the Crimean Bridge was monumental from the beginning. Constructed at a cost of approximately $3.6 billion, it was one of the most expensive infrastructure projects in the region. Its strategic importance justified the cost at the time, as it promised to bring long-term economic benefits and military efficiency. After the massive strike, the financial burden has grown even heavier. Reconstruction and repair efforts have been estimated to require billions more, not only for the physical rebuilding of damaged sections but also for reinforcing the bridge against future attacks. There are also indirect costs: delayed shipments, rerouted goods, increased fuel consumption for alternative paths, and the loss of investor confidence in the stability of the region. Insurance premiums for shipping through nearby routes have also reportedly increased, adding to the economic ripple effects caused by the strike. In the broader geopolitical context, the massive strike on the Crimean Bridge is a reminder of the vulnerability of critical infrastructure in modern conflicts. Bridges, pipelines, power stations, and ports are no longer just civilian assets. They are strategic targets that can shift the momentum of war and influence political negotiations. The strike has forced authorities to rethink not only how they protect such infrastructure, but also how they respond when it is compromised. For the people relying on the bridge, this event was more than just a headline. It disrupted daily life, slowed down commerce, and created uncertainty about future stability. For the military, it was a logistical headache that exposed planning weaknesses. For political leaders, it was a symbolic setback that required swift action to manage both the physical damage and the narrative surrounding it. As the world continues to watch the aftermath unfold, the Crimean Bridge has become both a lesson and a warning. It demonstrates the power of precision strikes to paralyze even the most heavily fortified structures. It reveals the high stakes of relying on single-point infrastructure for vital connections. It also raises questions about how future conflicts will be fought, not only on the front lines but in the infrastructure networks that support entire regions. The rebuilding process will be closely monitored, not just for engineering progress but for the political signals it sends. Will the bridge emerge stronger and better defended? Or will it remain a point of contention, a symbol of vulnerability that both sides in this conflict seek to exploit? Time will tell, but one thing is certain. The massive strike on the Crimean Bridge has changed the strategic map of the region and will continue to shape decisions for years to come. The conclusion we draw from this event is that no matter how advanced or expensive, infrastructure in contested regions must be built with resilience not only to natural disasters but also to deliberate attacks. The Crimean Bridge was once a celebrated marvel of engineering, and it may regain its strength in the future. But this incident has permanently etched its place in history as a turning point. The exterior destruction was dramatic and captured the attention of the world, but the interior damage, hidden beneath the surface, was even more devastating for the functioning of the region. Its performance as a reliable link has been questioned, its safety features scrutinized, its symbolic status shaken, and its cost multiplied. Yet it remains standing in some form, a reminder of both human ingenuity and human conflict. As reconstruction continues and defenses are upgraded, the bridge may one day return to its former capacity. But the memory of this massive strike will linger as a testament to the fragile balance between infrastructure and security in times of war.